All right, and DD India's Amrit Singh joins us live on the story. Hi, Amrit. A very good morning to you. Amrit, Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to arrive today in India for the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. He's coming here after 2021. What's on the agenda?
The entire gamut of bilateral relationship, Siddharth, ranging from defense to energy security, cooperation, joint production, trade, business, health, agriculture, reviewing the relationship where it stands today, how to take it further, boosting trade, people-to-people contacts, cultural ties, cooperation in sectors of digital space, labor mobility, space, civil nuclear energy. So everything is on the table, including discussions on global issues and the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia and the way forward and the way out of it to ensure peace in the world and also restoration of global supply chains. So the entire gamut of bilateral relationship and the international implications and the international situation is on the agenda. Siddharth?
Okay, Amrit, and how do you analyze the bilateral ties between both the countries?
Oh, they're very strong bilateral ties. As your report mentioned, it's a time-tested relationship. It goes back to the Soviet era. There are people-to-people contacts. There are cultural contacts between the two sides. It's a deep-seated relationship. It's a special, privileged strategic partnership. Ranging from, as I said, all sectors. There is a good trade between the two sides. There are ambitions to scale it up to about $100 billion by 2030, which shall be extensively discussed tomorrow at the Hyderabad House, even at the Business Forum, not just government-to-government relationship, but also business-to-business relationship will be discussed at the Business Forum. There is a military angle to it. The two defense ministers are meeting. There is joint production. BrahMos is a good example. Civil nuclear energy, Kodankulam. Russia could offer more modular reactors. Oil is an important part of it. Of the relationship. Labor mobility with India's big talent force is on the table. So it is a robust relationship, Siddharth.
Definitely. Amrit, what can you tell us about India's strategic autonomy?
Okay, if you look at it, look at President Putin's visit. It comes at a time when Russia is facing isolation in the world, especially from the West,
right.
Namely the United States and EU. You know what three ambassadors of Western countries wrote an article a few days ago, which many in the Indian strategic community found objectionable and reacted sharply to it. For President Putin, the signaling to the West is that you are not the only countries in the world. If you don't look at me or want to pressurize me, I have others to engage with, including China, India being the third largest oil buyer in the world. Also, a huge market for consumer items, also a huge market for defense purchases. The world is an open playing field. So that's the importance of the message that the Russian president is sending by taking the plane to New Delhi. For India, as you asked, the strategic autonomy bit. India, after the tariffs imposed by President Trump, is sending a signal that the U.S. cannot arm twist India. India retains its right to engage with the world on its own terms, based on its own interests and needs. Enough of lecturing by the West. Their hypocrisy being called out. India retains the right to buy oil, though we've seen dip in oil prices, but that will be under review as to how to round trip the sanctions.
Okay.
So the message that that New Delhi would want to send to the world is that it retains its autonomy, strategic autonomy, to engage with the world based on its own needs, on its own interests. And while India stands for peace and would want the Ukraine conflict to end through dialogue and diplomacy,
right.
but it will engage with anyone it wishes to engage with.
Definitely. Amrit, you just told us about that the two leaders are expected to discuss the entire gamut of bilateral relations. But the ties between both the countries go beyond diplomacy, Amrit. What's your assessment of that?
If you mean going beyond diplomacy, you mean that it's not just a give and take transactional relationship. You're right, Siddharth. It is not. It is beyond that. Of course, there is an element of transactional relationship. Say, buying the oil. You bought oil because you increased oil supplies because you were getting cheaper oil, and you made no bones about it. India was very clear that it needs to serve the interests and take care of the needs of its 1.4 billion population. So it will do whatever it deems fit and whatever serves its interest.
Definitely. And Amrit, also, can you tell us something about the people-to-people ties between both the countries?
That's what. Yes, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
There is a transactional angle to the relationship, but it's more than that. It is, the people-to-people contacts that you talk about go back to the Soviet era.
Okay.
You wouldn't have been born then, Siddharth.
I'm sure.
When the USSR, the kind of cooperation that existed in films, in cultural contacts, the kind of literature that used to come here. My generation would have read Dostoevsky, Lenin, all kinds of Russian philosophers, and all that was freely available in India. So there is a deep cultural connect between the Indians and the Russians, which transcends our time. There is a present connect also. About 80,000 Russians visit India every year. The Indians visiting Russia is less, about 40,000. Goa, as you know, when you go to Goa, the menu card would read in English, would read in Hindi, and it would read in Russian.
Yeah,
in many
definitely.
places, Russian would be more. So that speaks about how people are connected to each other.
Right.
So it is a robust relationship. It's a government-to-government relationship. It is a people-to-people relationship. And of course, as I said, a B2B or a business-to-business relationship. Siddharth?
Definitely, Amrit. A wonderful analysis there. And we'll keep taking updates from you throughout the day since you are covering President Putin's visit thoroughly. Thank you so much.